Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. All right, you guys know my couple second delay here. Getting everything up. All right, we're live everywhere. What's going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? Look at my lazy ass taking a day off yesterday. My lazy ass taking a day off yesterday. Good morning. Cheers to everybody. Hope you're enjoying your cup of coffee. February 20th, Thursday, February 20th, 8 a.m. on the dot. We got the Sliwa show today. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into. And then my choice of just saying, you know what, I'm just going to take tomorrow off, or I'm going to take yesterday off. Okay, no, that wasn't the case. I was fighting a good fight. Is flu going around? What's going on with this flu? I think everybody's got the flu. It got me yesterday. I thought I was going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with an ankle injury / cough, but I made it. I'm back here. So thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. We got a lot to get into on today's show. I'm looking forward to it. Let me first get everybody a quick quote here. What's the quote I got here? Opportunities are like sunrises. If you wait too long, you miss them. Opportunities are like sunrises. If you wait too long, you miss them. That's a really, really good quote right there. I think we could all relate to that. You F around a little bit too much, that opportunity's gone. All right, let me take a look at a couple of the comments here real quick, and then I'll give everyone a rundown of the show. Yep. Yeah, Jesus is like, yeah, I don't care that you weren't feeling good. Lakers took a day off yesterday as well. You're right about that. Welcome back, Slee. I got to keep my mental health in check, 100%. Let's go, Big Al. All right. We're back, baby. Okay, we're back. All right, let me give everyone a quick rundown. By the way, here's how you know when you're not feeling good. I used to always have this talk with Trav when I was doing the show with Trav in the mornings. Travis Rogers. When you're not in the mood for coffee, if you're a coffee drinker and you're not in the mood for coffee, we got a problem. Yesterday morning, the last thing I wanted or needed in my life was a cup of coffee. That's when you know you're like, all right, you're not feeling good. Because if you're a coffee drinker, like I am, and you have coffee every single morning, you have a couple cups of coffee a day, whatever the case, the first thing you do when you wake up, you're like, I need my coffee. Yesterday, I was like, no, I'm good. No coffee. That's when you know you're sick. That's the best way that you can put it. That's when you know you're sick. All right, let me give everyone a quick rundown of the show today. Appreciate you guys hanging out here. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys don't mind subscribing. Would greatly appreciate that. Lakers lose yesterday to the Hornets. I got no excuses for the Los Angeles Lakers. Just a bad loss yesterday. Played with their food a little bit too much. I thought some kind of idiotic decisions from individual players. I thought coaching was below average. I don't think the Lakers really felt like they just walked into yesterday thinking that Charlotte's only got 13 wins. That it's going to be a walk in the park. So none of that stuff happened. We'll spend some time talking about the game. I thought there were some good quotes at the end of the game. I did do a post game, by the way, yesterday, but it was kind of a condensed version, about a half hour. So if you guys just want post game from yesterday, it is up there. And it's about maybe 30 minutes long, something along those lines. So not too long, something to keep in mind. No video, by the way, as well. It was just me doing the audio version. Who takes the final shot? So yesterday, Lakers are down 3. Bron took the final shot. Dave McMenamin asked both Luka and LeBron kind of the thought process there, whatever the case is. I think that's actually a good conversation. I was listening Get Up this morning, and I was listening to Brian Windhorst had a take on it. Shams had a little bit of a take. I'll play those clips for you guys because I think you guys will like it. Luka so far in 3 games as a Los Angeles Laker. Not impressive. Not impressive at all. Again, I'm not talking about what he's going to look like in 30 games. I'm talking about through 3 games. Not impressive at all. We'll spend some time talking about Luka. Austin Reaves, critical mistake, getting ejected in the game. Mark Williams had some quotes before the game about the trade not going down. Really good article in the LA Times about a potential salary cap in baseball. I probably would not expect it, but I thought it was actually a really good article that I think lays out points for both sides. And Rob Manfred had some quotes that it doesn't sound like he's in favor of a salary cap. So, anyways, we'll get into that as well. And because we didn't do it yesterday, we'll do some Ask Slee. If you guys got some random questions, we'll do it after 9. So we'll just kind of get through the show, and then when the show's done, we can BS a little bit. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Grab your cup of coffee. I had no interest in coffee yesterday. None. That's when you know it's not going okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I'll get into some of the supers, and I'll get into some of the other comments here. I'll get into that in just a little bit. So we will we'll get the show started. We'll get into some of that in a little bit. All right, Lakers lose yesterday to the Hornets. Okay. When they lost to the Utah Jazz, I think I mentioned that, guys, they've been playing such good basketball. Sometimes you're going to take an L. It's going to happen. The world's not going to end. And did the world end yesterday by the Lakers losing to the Hornets? No, it didn't. But something that I think these last couple of games that I'd be cautious of to kind of watch with this Lakers team, they were rolling. 14 games over 500, put themselves in a fantastic position, had a chance, 1 game left against the Utah Jazz on the road, and they the momentum that they'd be going in the All-Star break was phenomenal. Okay, they lose to Utah, and we kind of lined up the proper excuses for them. You know what, they've been playing so good, and it's going to take time for them to start adjusting, which is 100% true. I don't think I question that by any stretch. And then it was also like, hey, it's the final game before the All-Star break, and kind of gave them these excuses and hope that, okay, they'll get back in the line. And they got a couple games here to start off with where they certainly have some opportunity to get back in line. All right, then last night happens. What's the excuse for last night? Playing a Charlotte team that's lost 9 of their last 10 games, a Charlotte team that really has no interest in winning right now. There's a few teams out there that are trying to stack up L's. I know the players aren't, but you guys know what I'm referring to there. You got a squad now. Okay, are the excuses now going to be, well, it's the first game back from the All-Star break, and these guys are just trying to get back into rhythm and everything else? I thought there was a lack of effort. I thought there was a lack of fight. I thought there was a lack of professionalism that came into the game. That you're up by 10, 12 points. We could kind of put a dagger into this team so they have no hope, and Lakers clearly didn't do that. I thought they played with their food too much. I thought they were overconfident. I think there's a lot of factors of why that loss, happened yesterday. But it's a frustrating loss because for me, it's impossible not to tie that Utah Jazz loss into it as well. So if you were looking at the Lakers schedule and you're looking at their positioning and you're looking at the standings, you're like, wow, Lakers got kind of like a legitimate shot to be a top 3 team here in the Western Conference. What's it going to look like? Look at these games that they got coming up in front of them. Well, you just lost to Utah and Charlotte. You grabbed 2 L's, and now, as close as you may be, I'll look at the standings here real quick, just out of curiosity. And I'm not telling you that the world just ended, but you're now just as close as you were to trying to get up to that number 3 spot or that number 2 spot where Memphis and Denver are. Now you're just as close as dropping back to where the Clippers are. So you're kind of right in that middle ground here, just as close to moving up to Denver as you are as moving back to the Clippers. Schedule's only going to get tougher. I think the Lakers have, if I've seen this right, I'll try to pull it up here, but I think it's the 6th toughest schedule left in the NBA. So it's not like it's going to get, all that much easier. Nope, I am wrong. 29 games left. After they got the Charlotte game out of the way, the Lakers currently have the toughest remaining schedule in the entire NBA. The Lakers and the Phoenix Suns do. So Just a bad loss. I mean, that's the best way that I can put it. I didn't really want to come in here and kind of sugarcoat it and say, well, everything's okay. It's fine. It's this. You lost to the Jazz. The excuse was it's the last game before the All-Star break. You've been playing well. You lost to the Hornets. Part of the excuse is, it's your first game from the All-Star break. They're kind of trying to get back into rhythm. Those are two bad losses. And especially, I think, against Charlotte at home, that's a really, really bad loss. And, whether it comes back to haunt them or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I just didn't like the energy. 18 turnovers for the Lakers, jacked up 51 threes. Not a good game overall. I think that's the best way that I can describe it. As I kind of turned the page on yesterday's game, that's kind of how I felt. It just had this really, really bad vibe to it. Let's put it that way. So that's the best way that I can describe yesterday's game. And Lakers, obviously, why they lost that game. I know there's some people here wanting to put some blame on Luka and this and that. All good. I don't blame you guys. But I got Luka as kind of my own separate topic. So I'll tie Luka in here in just a second. All right, let me do this real quick, and then we'll get into who takes the final shot just because of the way that played out yesterday. Let me look at some of your comments. Let me first start off here. Big Sneed. Big Sneed. My brother. What's going on here, Big Sneed? Thank you, brother. I appreciate that very much. $20 super here on this Thursday morning. Big Sneed, thank you, brother. I appreciate you very much. Very, very kind of you to do that. Thanks for bringing it. Get better. Also, the LeBron-Luka experience is interesting. Big Sneed, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you very much. We're back because I had a cup of coffee this morning, so I'm back. Even if I'm not feeling good, I'm just going to pretend like everything's all right. I'll just pretend. No big deal. The LeBron-Luka experience is interesting. Yeah, it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. I think LeBron's doing his job. I don't think Luka's doing his. I mean, again, if you ask me big picture Luka, he's going to be phenomenal. If you ask me what I've seen from Luka so far, I'm like, Luka, bro, I've been hyping you up like the second coming of Jesus. Yeah, he's been very, very average, below average so far. He has been. I think he had 5 turnovers in the first half yesterday. So that Luka LeBron thing, I'm with you. It is an interesting experience, and the question is going to be just how much time is it going to take to figure out what exactly that is, how they work best together. It's going to take time. And how much is that going to affect them this season versus the future? I don't have that answer. But I think that's going to be an interesting one. Big Sneak, thank you very much, brother. I really appreciate you doing that. Thank you. Let's keep going here. Good morning. Can't hang that loss on LeBron. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's actually going to get into who takes the final shot. I'll get into that in just a second. I thought it was a no-brainer who takes the final shot yesterday. And if it was between Luka and LeBron, let me give you a quick idea. I don't think it should have been Luka. No, listen, LeBron is doing his thing. This from what I've watched from LeBron this season, I got very little to complain about. The one thing I'll complain about Bron is turnovers. There are times where he commits too many turnovers. But for the most part, if we're just looking at yesterday's game, Luka's performance, LeBron's performance, LeBron did his job. I don't think anyone should be complaining about Bron this morning. Thank you, brother. I appreciate your comment there. Spicy Mayonnaise. Phenomenal name. Just a phenomenal name. I mean, talk about someone coming hard to the hoop. No more AD to score inside, so they must shoot threes. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the winning recipe for the Lakers. I mean, and I'm not telling you you're wrong, but what I'm telling you is if the strategy is jack up 50-plus threes, the problem is there's other teams in the NBA that are just more efficient from the three-point line and they're more they just got better three-point shooters. It's the best way that I can put it to simplify it. Thank you for the super, brother. Let's get another one here. Bobby Portis 20-game suspension. Okay, I didn't see that. I need more context here. What's he got? What'd he do? You guys will have to tell me. I can't find it while I'm on the fly here, so I'll let you guys fill in the details there. Okay. I want to talk about the last shot real quick. Ooh, 25-game suspension for drug violation. Wow. That ain't going to help them. That's definitely not going to help them. Okay. I want to let me Northborough AES, thank you for the super, and Cheap Ticks, thank you for the super as well. Appreciate it. So whoever was right, 20 or 25 games, I appreciate it. I'll go back to the loss, but in just a second. I want to play something here for everybody. Last night, Lakers lose the game, and I want you guys into a little bit of the post game here, because I think the post game comments were a little bit interesting, and it was talking about who takes the final shot and this and that. Remember, Lakers were down 100-97 against Charlotte. They're drawing up a play. They got enough time to take off, to get a good 3-point shot in. And then this will kind of take me a little bit more of the Luka conversation. It will take you a little bit into the Luka conversation of just how he's played so far as a Los Angeles Laker. So let me share my screen here with everybody. Let's see what we got here. Okay. I know this doesn't look good for LeBron, but that's okay. I'm gonna start it here. This is on GetUp, and I'm gonna grab a couple clips from here. But this first one is gonna be Luka being asked the question from Dave McMenamin about, final shot, who takes it, this and that. Take a quick listen here.
Play. You're the guy.
What's it like to be the guy inbounding the ball versus the guy taking the shot?
Yeah, I mean, it's both ways. He had it going, so obviously we're going to go to him. I think it go both ways. So one time it's going to be him, one time me. So I think it depends how the games go.
Okay, that's Luka on basically saying he had it going. It goes both ways. He mentioned that a couple times. It goes both ways. One time it's going to be him. One time it's going to be me. I'll tell you this about Luka. This I'm noticing very early on. Luka's, he's going to do everything he can in the beginning to try to kind of fit in and try to, not step on anybody's toes. But you could also tell this man is like, yeah, I'm one of those guys. And if Anthony Davis, I'm using him as an example, never kind of wanted to be one of those guys, well, Luka, that ain't going to be an issue. That's not going to be a problem. Take a listen to LeBron talking about the last shot.
You run the set that the coaches, JJ draws up. You execute it and we execute it. We just didn't make it.
All right, I'll come back to this in just a second. I'll play it, but let me just give everyone my quick thoughts on the last shot last night. That was an easy decision. There was no question of who should be taking that last shot yesterday. LeBron was 4 of 9 from the 3-point line going into those final 2 threes that he missed. He was shooting 50% from the field, 10 of 20 going into those final 2 threes that he missed. He was really the only player offensively that had any rhythm. You could say Dorian Finney-Smith, who hit 4 threes, but I don't think you're drawing up a play for Dorian Finney-Smith towards the end of that game. Luka might want the ball. Luka might say, hey, it was an easy decision yesterday because he had it going and I didn't. Luka wasn't good last night. He was 1 for 9 from the 3-point line. Why would you drop a play for Luka when you're down 3 when he's 5 of 18 from the field and 1 of 9 from the 3-point line? If that was flipped, if it was LeBron who was 1 of 9 from 3 and LeBron who was 5 of 18 and it was Luka that was basically shooting 50% from the field and 50% from 3 and they drew the play up for LeBron, I would say, well, that's dumb. Why would you do that? No, Luka should be taking that final shot. So I think yesterday it was more specific to who was playing well and who wasn't, and Luka wasn't playing well. So is that going to change down the road? Sure, it may very well change, but Bron should have taken those final 2 shots, those final 2 threes. I wish he hit one of them. He did it, but I think the decision to give the ball in put the ball in LeBron's hands was the right decision. And I don't really have, much of an argument when it comes to that. I think that the next clip that I'm going to play is going to be talking a little bit more about Luka specifically and how he's been so far as a Laker and everything else. But I think for last night, at least for me, I don't think there's really much question of who should have taken that final shot. Now, as the season progresses, okay, maybe it becomes a little bit more interesting. As the season progresses, Luka, I'm sure, is going to be a lot better than he has been over the first 3 games. And, with that in mind, then it's going to be kind of pick your poison. Maybe if it's a tie game, it's Luka making that decision of either I'm taking the shot or I'm setting up somebody. But for last night specifically, I thought it was a really, really easy decision for the Lakers. And LeBron got a really good look the first time and then had to kind of rush it on that second shot. And then that was it. When you're down 3 and you get 2 threes from LeBron at the end of the game, what more can you really ask for? They just didn't hit it. But unfortunately for the Lakers, it was coming in an L to Charlotte. So that's what I think we all pay attention to. I want to play one more clip here. And this is Brian Windhorst talking specifically about Luka. So let me just kind of give everybody a quick idea so far. So Luka so far as a Laker. All right. So this is specifically as a Laker so far. 2 games against the Jazz, 1 game against the Hornets. First game against the Jazz, 5 of 14 from the field, 14 points, 1 of 7 from the 3-point line. Okay. Against the Jazz in Utah, 6 of 13 from the field, 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. And then yesterday, 5 of 18 from the field, 1 of 9 from the 3-point line. Did have 8 assists, did have 11 rebounds, but also had 6 turnovers. Take a listen here real quick. This is coming from Brian Windhorst on what he's seen so far from Luka. Take a listen.
There's no way J.J. Redick could have drawn up that play for Luka the way he is right now. He was not good in this game. Doesn't look like he has his legs at all. He's 1 of 9 on threes in the game. He's 5 of 24 on threes since he's been a Laker. LeBron is hot in the fourth quarter, has good energy. They draw a play up that creates an open look. It's kind of a no-brainer. To me, their bigger issue with the Lakers is how to get their offense going. This team was in a great rhythm before the Doncic trade. We know that it's going to take a while to integrate them. Right now, LeBron James, Austin Reaves, and Luka are all playing my turn, your turn. That's totally expected. But something that they've got to address much more than who gets the last second shot.
All right, that's Brian Windhorst right there. There is one more clip that I do want to play, but I'll wait on that for a quick second. I think what he's saying right there too from Brian Windhorst, the kind of the conversation of stylistically right now how the Lakers are playing. Guys, they got a lot to figure out. I mean, excuse me. I mean, if you really think about what this team was before the trade and what this team is trying to be after the trade, it's going to take a second. Now, I don't think that justifies a loss to Charlotte. I don't think that justifies a loss to Utah. I don't think it justifies losses to teams that are literally not trying to win. But, okay, hey, it comes with the territory. It happens. And you know, if you want to make the excuse, the loss against Utah, all right, final one before the break. Jackson Hayes only plays 7 minutes. Dorian Finney-Smith doesn't play. Gabe Vincent doesn't play. You didn't have your team. Yesterday, I don't have an excuse for you, so I don't sit as much on yesterday's excuses as maybe another game. But I think the point that Windhorst is trying to make right there of just stylistically, this squad is wildly different than they were before the trade deadline. Wildly different. You know, they had built a team and were starting to have some success with, hey, Anthony Davis is your focal point on the defensive side. Bron, you know what he's going to do. All these other guys kind of complement the roster that they had. And then the trade happened. I think 29 GMs make the same trade as the Lakers did. The only GM that wouldn't is Nico Harrison of the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, he actually made the trade, but you guys know what I'm referring to. 29 other teams would rather have Luka. But what your strengths were before are going to be completely different. I hope we don't start watching a team that's jacking up 53s a game because I really think they're going to have an incredibly difficult time, winning games this year based off of that. I know what happened with the Mark Williams rescinded trade and, how that affects this team moving forward and everything else. But I do kind of find it's going to take a second for the Lakers to kind of figure out, well, what exactly are we? How can we play at our best? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? How does Luka play with LeBron? All that other stuff that comes with it. So I think that stuff's going to come. But I think up to right now, you're clearly seeing a team that it's gonna take a second. Here is Shams specifically on Luka.
What I keep hearing around Luka Doncic over the last couple of weeks is just the term shell shock, and that's really been his frame of mind since the trade. And of course, as you get repetition, as you get a rhythm, as you get accustomed to playing in Los Angeles, he's got a lot of familiar faces there too. JJ Redick, his coach, that's someone he's very close with. Dorian Finney-Smith, another guy that he has a very close bond with. So the familiar faces will help, but this is still someone that's trying to find his mojo, trying to find his swag in LA.
All right, I got one more clip here that I'm going to play. This is Windhorse kind of closing it off here on the Luka front.
You watch them play right now. Luka is doing a lot of standing around. When he's been at his best, the ball is in his hand and he's creating. He's putting up decent assist and rebound numbers, but his shooting numbers have totally plunged. His scoring has plunged. He's averaging 15 points a game. This is a guy that averaged 34 last year. And when you watch them play, you can tell he doesn't have a comfort in that offense. He doesn't exactly have any sort of two-man game working with LeBron. JJ Redick had this team in a good place, and he had to rip it all up to shreds and redo it. So it's just going to take time. I know there's a lot of excitement around the team. Tuesday against Dallas, when they come into LA, it's going to be a fascinating moment, but you really can't give a fair evaluation of this team right now.
All right, that's some of the guys from this morning. Love some of the quotes there, getting a chance to kind of get their perspective on it. Okay, I want to spend some time. I want to look at some of your guys' comments here real quick, and then we'll keep kind of things moving here. All right, let's take a look here. It's all about our D. Ability to create turnovers, get easy buckets in transition. Luka and LeBron and AR to create either for themselves or others, play aggressive, and make open shots. Yeah, I think their identity, whatever it was before the trade, is a completely different identity. So I think that part is going to be, I think that part's going to be different. Let's just put it that way. I think that part's going to be, I don't know how much they're going to be able to rely on a team defensively when you have LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reaves as your basically 3 of your 5 players that are on the floor, right? What of those 3 players are any of those players positioned defensively minded at this stage? LeBron was at one point. Reaves can give you all the effort that he can. So can Luka, but it doesn't matter. Guys are going to get past him. So you can't have 3 out of your top 5 guys that when they're on the floor together, we can't really look at them and say, oh, well, they can be a defensive team when you could almost call it 3 liabilities on defense. Let me keep going here. Not true. 29 other GMs. Minnesota reportedly said no for Ant-Man. Okay, let me give you a little insight on that one as well. If, hypothetically, the Minnesota Timberwolves had assurance that Luka was going to sign with the Minnesota Timberwolves long-term, they would have traded Anthony Edwards. My opinion. I think they would have traded Anthony Edwards. Maybe not. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe the upside they see in Ant. I mean, they already made one idiotic trade in trading Karl Anthony Towns, so who knows what they would do. But I think if there was any fear from any of these other teams in a trade for Luka, it had more to do with, will Luka sign here long-term? And I think that was going to be the questions. All right, let me look at some more here. We're going to have to accept the fact that this season is the cost of doing business. You're not wrong. You're really, really not wrong. That's why I was kind of hesitant. When all these people were kind of jumping on by the way, they could still be an excellent team this year. My problem is I don't really think there's a way of gauging. I don't really think there's a way of knowing how good or bad this Lakers team can be because we don't have any data on them. I had Bobby Marks on, I think that was on Tuesday. I recorded separately. I was trying to find some availability, and I couldn't find availability in his schedule to do it live. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll just record it with him, and then I'll just post it. So I posted it separately. Members got it first. So if you want to be a member, you can be a member, an MVP member. But I remember having the conversation with him, and I'm like, Bobby, how can anyone really assess what this team is going to be when they've played such little amount of games together? The philosophy of what one team was, usually when you make a trade around the trade deadline, maybe it's a fringe trade. Maybe you're trading this guy for that guy. Like, it's not an earth-shattering move. I'll give you an example. The Cavaliers, I thought, made a brilliant trade before the All-Star break. They get DeAndre Hunter from Atlanta. Oh, phenomenal player. Perfect player. Exactly what they need. He's the 5th best player on the team or 4th best player on the team. The Lakers traded Anthony Davis. So it's going to take time to adjust. It's going to take a second. And if it takes this season, then that is the cost of doing business. Then you kind of are like, all right, well, at least they got their future set up and they could start planning for their future. But there is this urgency, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. For me, Luka became a Laker. Even yesterday, I'm watching the game. I'm like, how is Luka a Laker? Why do we keep saying Luka's a Laker? Like, it's still weird, right? But I think the thing that, because it's Luka, you're just expecting Luka to walk in on the floor and the guy's going to start posting 35, 8, and 8s a night because it's Luka. That has clearly not been the case. And the Lakers still, obviously trying to figure out a lot more between now and as the season progresses. Let me get a couple more comments in here. All right, let's see what we got here. Only 3 games. Let's relax. Oh, no, Seiko, we're good, brother. We're good. 100% we're good. But I got to also give my opinion on these 3 games. You know what I mean? I think it's, I'll always caution by saying no one's ever going to question, at least I'm not, is Luka going to be a baller on the Lakers? Of course he is. He's a top 5 player in the league, period. But I also can't really ignore a game-to-game, watching somebody game-to-game. That's part of the gig too, right? If I just came on here and said, I don't care about Luka's stats. I don't care about Luka's stats. If they're winning games, I'd probably say that more. But if they've lost 2 games, one against Utah, one against the Charlotte Hornets, it's really tough for me to just pretend like that's not happening over his first 3 games. Now, he also hasn't played since Christmas. So it's not like Luka was rolling in Dallas and then was just able to come play for the Lakers. Obviously, he's figuring out a lot of stuff as well. All right, let me get one more here. Yeah, the future is brighter, but they are no longer even contending. I don't know about that yet. I think we got a good 30-day stretch here that we're going to watch, and we're going to have a really good idea of what this Lakers team exactly is as they kind of reset and figure things out from here. Let me I got one quick thing here that I want to throw out here from Austin Reaves from yesterday, and then I got a couple other topics that I want to get into. Okay, so Reaves yesterday gets thrown out of the game, gets 2 technical fouls. That really, really hurt the Lakers. And Austin Reaves is not one of those guys, like, if you told me yesterday, somebody's getting thrown out from the Lakers, who do you think it is? I'm like, yeah, I'd probably pick Austin Reaves last. But those plays those 2 technicals really hurt the Lakers, and not having Austin Reaves on the floor really hurt the Lakers. Shit happens, is what it is. The world's not going to end. But poor decision by Reaves yesterday. there's a frustration with the refereeing, how quick these guys are to blow their whistle and say, that's it, you're out of here. Whatever the justification is. But I thought yesterday was Reaves hurt the Lakers, and I think it's the first time he's ever been thrown out of a game. So it's not something that you see often, but that portion of the game yesterday, the game kind of flipped once Austin Reaves left the game. And I know that's kind of funny to say because they're playing Charlotte, but it really was one of the differences in the game yesterday. Refs are soft. Yeah, I never understand the refs. I really don't. I genuinely don't. But what I will tell you is if you picked up a tee, you got your point across, now you got to get out of the way and you got to kind of move on from there. You got your one technical. Don't put yourself and your team in a position where a second tee is coming and then that's it. You can't be there for the rest of the game. He's just too important of a player for the Lakers to have him come out of the game. And that's the best way that I can describe it. The dumb refs should be fined for quick techs. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen. Okay. I want to keep things moving here. Before I do, I want to give a quick shout out here. Thank you very much to our partner, the Wallace firm, Brad Wallace of the Wallace firm. I want to just kind of give everyone a quick idea. This is our first partner on the Sliwa show, our first YouTube partner. I'm very appreciative of them, and I'm going to do everything I can to help promote their business and promote what they do in the state of California, by the way. So if you or someone close to you has been seriously injured or is dealing with the loss of a loved one, you should find out what legal options you have and what legal options you obviously deserve. You got to find the right legal team backing you, and it's Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Let me tell you a little bit about my personal relationship with Brad Wallace. I've known the guy for about 5 years. He used to advertise with me specifically when I was at ESPN. He wanted me to be the spokesperson for their company. And then here he is following me here onto YouTube as well. Great guy, local business. Like I said, he can help anyone in the state of California. I hope you guys never need him. If you're in a serious injury or a wrongful death case, I will tell you that I know that he can help. It's a very intimidating and daunting process. I don't know anything about legal options. I don't know anything about any of this stuff, but find an expert in the field, and he's definitely an expert. And he's somebody that believes in this channel, the show, myself. So I really, really, really want to make sure that I emphasize, if you're ever in a situation where you need something, let me make a personal introduction to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Here's the URL. It's wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. You can get a free consultation, or like I said, anyone is always welcome to email me and I will make a personal introduction. I'll make an intro there. All right, let's keep things rolling here. Mark Williams spoke yesterday. I just want to touch on this real quick, and then we'll move on from. We're already moving on from the Charlotte game, anyways. But it's the last time Lakers are playing Charlotte, so we won't have another conversation about the rescinded trade. Man, it's crazy kind of listening to this guy's perspective. All right, I'm going to read you guys a quote from Mark Williams. He was with reporters yesterday. He said, "My agent told me the trade was rescinded. I didn't think I had failed my physical. That didn't even cross my mind. The night I got traded, I played hella minutes. I didn't think in any world that was possible. Since I've been back since the start of the year, I've played games with a lot of minutes. I feel like every injury I've had has been well documented, and I've recovered and have been 100% since. So I don't know what went into that decision. I think that's up to them." He was talking about also the fact that the Lakers play the Hornets in the first game. You can't write any script like that. He said, "Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is showing I'm healthy. Like I said, I didn't think there was a world I'd fail a physical, so I'm just excited to play." When I was having the conversation with Bobby Marks on Tuesday, we were talking about kind of the future for the Lakers, and we were talking specifically about this trade not happening and how we thought that we understood why Pelinka did it, but we also don't think it's the end of the world that this trade got rescinded. Would Mark Williams be able to help the Lakers right now this year? Of course he would. Absolutely he would. No question about it. I mean, their options right now, Jackson Hayes, who's not terrible. Jackson Hayes is filling in as best as he can, but he certainly has a ceiling. And Alex Lynn, I think Alex Lynn is, don't expect too much from him. But if you had Mark Williams starting and Jackson Hayes coming off the bench, okay, that's a lot more interesting. But I think the fact that this trade didn't happen for the Lakers, I think it's going to give them a ton of options in the offseason. It's going to allow them to really, really try to think and see, at least for the remainder of this season, what works, what doesn't work, what players are jiving with Luka, what players aren't, what kind of players they need to target in the offseason, what can they possibly do to put together a roster that's going to be competitive for the next 3, 4, 5 years, whatever the case is. So I'm not, as distraught about not getting Mark Williams or anything like that. But at the same time, it will hurt them this year. I hope for that man, he can, continue to play the way he needs to play and at least get the stigma off of him that he's damaged goods. But really weird to kind of hear him talk as well and say, like, I don't know what I failed. He hasn't even really been communicated what exactly was the physical, what portion of his physical did he fail and why? And I think for the Lakers, it's definitely a long-term view of they had concerns about probably not this guy today or tomorrow, but what this guy can be in 2, 3, 4 years, whatever the case is, especially if they're going to hand him a contract. But that's a little bit on, the Mark Williams front of things. And that'll probably be the last time we talk about Mark Williams. So, I don't think we're going to have anything more to say about him. But I think it does kind of describe a little bit. It describes a little bit of how he could have helped this year, but it also is going to give the Lakers some good options, I think, in the offseason to have still all of those assets. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see. When Williams had a chance to protect the rim, he got posterized, but this is a long-term thing about his health. LeBron did posterize him. No question about that. We clearly missed AD last night with LaMelo penetrating whenever he wanted. Yeah, they're gonna miss AD, period. I mean, from what he brought from that perspective, clearly they're always going to miss him because of what he brings to the table from that perspective. Let's get one of these supers in here. Sound Automotive Group. Thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. Couldn't be more clear. We need to get at least one of DFS and Orlando in the starting lineup for balance. AR to run the second unit. I've said this. If you guys told me, give me your starting five, and I do think that JJ Redick's going to try to figure this out on the fly. And if I could give JJ Redick some credit here, I think JJ has been phenomenal so far this year that whatever curveball you throw him, he finds a way to make it work. And he's not also married to anything. I think with JJ Redick, part of the characteristics I really like about him is he can have a guy like D'Lo in the starting lineup, out of the starting lineup. Max Christie in the starting lineup, out of the starting lineup. Austin Reaves, like, he's not married to anything. He's trying different things. What is it that works? And I do feel like if we're 10 more games in, 6, 7, 8 games in, and the Lakers just don't have the right balance of offense and defense in that starting lineup, or he feels like I'm better off with this or better that, I think they'll make a move. I do. So, I mean, I look at this comment differently because I'm the one that also said I would have Austin Reaves coming off the bench, and it's nothing against Austin Reaves. I believe that that's a more well-rounded team if he comes off the bench, but I've also said that I don't think that's going to happen, at least in the beginning. And if JJ Redick thinks Reaves should be in the starting lineup, then JJ's been great this year. So I got really kind of nothing to argue against JJ Redick. If we were 10 games in to Luka and AR and LeBron and Lakers are 3-7 and they're really struggling and it looks really bad and they can't get any defensive stops, and whatever the case is, and he's still putting his foot down saying, no, this is going to work, that's a different conversation. I think that's a different conversation. Mark Williams looked healthier than Luka. Yeah, Luka, no question about it right now, going through the motions. I mean, we'd be lying to ourselves if, we said that Luka's been phenomenal so far. You heard Windhorse in one of those clips that I was playing. The guy averaged 34 a game last year. I actually didn't even realize it was 34 a game. He's averaging about 15 so far with the Lakers over these first 3 games. All right, let's get some more in here. Yeah, I have it in here in my notes too. Something that I mentioned. I have it here in my notes that Lakers style before the trade versus after the trade. That's the part that's going to be, the toughest thing for the Lakers right now is going to be figuring out that portion. The team that you were, the identity that you were before the trade versus what your identity is today, wildly different. Wildly different, the two identities. And you're trying to figure this out on the fly. And now less than 30 games left. That's just going to kind of come with some of the territory. But just think about that. Before the trade, a little bit more of a defensive team. They can score in the paint. Guys knew their role. Team had an identity. After the trade, taking a lot of threes, 50-plus threes in their last 2 games. Not enough talent from the bigs perspective. And Luka hasn't played well. So it's wildly different than I think what they were a month ago, 30 days or 30 days. Now that doesn't mean that it's not going to work. That it doesn't mean that their things aren't going to turn around. I'm just telling you of what it is today versus what it was a month ago and what it can be from a month from now. All right, let me take a look here. Austin has to be the 6th man to even have a chance. We'll keep an eye on it. See what they do tonight. They got Portland tonight. Blazers tonight. I think if I saw this right, too, against Portland. They've won 6 games in a row at home. This actually, I think, is going to be a tough game for them. Portland's, high energy, young guys. They'll run up and down the floor. I think Lakers will win tonight. I do. I actually really believe they'll win tonight. I think they'll get their shit back in gear. But second of a back-to-back, you're taking on a Blazers team that's got really nothing to lose. Portland had been playing. Somebody in the chat told me last week, they're like, Portland's playing a lot better. I'm like, what are you talking about? I went and looked. They've lost 3 in a row, but there was a stage where they won 9 of their last 10 games. So it's going to be it'll be a little bit of a dogfight tonight against the Blazers. Now let's get a couple more of these comments in here, and then I want to switch gears a little bit as well. We can't hide Rui, Luka, and Reaves on D at the same time. That's too much to overcome. Don't forget Bron as well. Not like Bron is out there has the ability to be locking up guys. Let's see what we got here. The next 2 moves from JJ, we should see AR going to the bench and DFS starting. AR doesn't deserve it, but it's the best option. Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks it's a demotion. You're just trying to, hey, with the team that we have, what's the best way the Lakers can be effective? That's it. There's nothing, there's nothing more to it. If the Mavs get healthy, I like them to get in the final. That's a big if, I'll tell you that right now. It's a very, very big if. All right, let me throw this out here real quick to everybody. I'm putting in the comments. If you want to be an MVP member, we have passed the 100 threshold. I appreciate all the members that are part of being an MVP member of the channel. It's $3 a month. I'm going to continue to put up exclusive content. I'm also going to have some content that goes up first to just members, and then eventually will come out to everybody else. You got special emojis and everything else. It's a fantastic way to support the channel. So if anybody's interested, I put the link right there. Would love to have as many members as possible. and then make that a more intimate setting, I guess you can call it, a little bit more personal, give everybody an idea of what happens behind the scenes. So there's a link there, and it's that easy to join. So hopefully you'll become an MVP member. All right, let's keep things moving here. All right, anything I'm gonna just, and I'm gonna allow you guys to do this here. I got a baseball topic that I want to get into, but before I do that, any other Laker questions you guys want me to hit on, hit me up now. And then I will I'll answer a few more of these Lakers questions, and then we'll keep things moving. But there is one baseball topic that I want to get into, and then we'll do some Ask Slee as well. Let me get a couple of these in here real quick. Luka shots should not be this rusty. Where is his passion? Yeah, something to keep in mind with Luka, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier. The guy has played 3 games since Christmas. So I think being rusty, I also think, you know, what Sham said about him still being shell-shocked. I think there's a little bit of like, I still think this guy doesn't even know what the hell just happened. I still feel like the guy is still, you know, probably driving into work saying, what the hell's going on here? Am I on the Lakers? Wait, what happened in Dallas? That was my squad. That was my city. That was my team. I think it's going to take time for him to adjust. And I know a lot of people don't really want to hear that. But I believe that 100% that this guy is in this like fairy tale make-believe world that he has not adjusted to yet. And then I also think that there's the piece of it where, you know, obviously he's going to need time to just get back into basketball shape and put himself in a position where he's comfortable with his team. Alex Len has to be waived, okay? Predictions on upcoming series of games. We are losing the games we should be winning and only getting a harder schedule. You're right about that, Tony. I mean, that part I think is the disappointing part. I mentioned it to start the show, that the disappointing part for me was the fact that they had a couple games lined up for them, including this game against Portland, where it was like, hey, they can be 16 games over 500, 17 games over 500. They're going the other way. And then the tough schedule is about to come. I popped this up here before the show started, or while the show was going. They got the toughest remaining schedule left in the NBA. So if you wanted to see Luka and LeBron against the elite in the NBA, you don't got to wait very long. It's coming. It's definitely on its way. It's definitely coming. All right, I'll get back to some of these comments here in just a second. If you want to start throwing some Ask Slees, feel free to throw some Ask Slees. I want to read a little bit of an article here, which I think is I think it's a good article, really good article in the LA Times. This is a baseball topic. This is specifically about potentially, let me get this all set up here real quick. Get this right here. Should there be a salary cap in baseball? All right, here's the title of it. This is from Jack Harris, I think. Jack Harris, yeah. Dodgers have a record-setting payroll. Could their spending impact future CBA talks? Okay, a lot of the talk in baseball in the offseason has obviously been about the Dodgers. Dodgers win a World Series, kind of an odd way of winning it, too. They kind of walked into the World Series. It's like, do they really even have a rotation that could carry them to a World Series? Guys step up. A lot of players are a part of it. I mean, there have been other years where you thought the Dodgers, hey, this is their year, they're going to win it. But whether injuries or just performances that the Dodgers were supposed to win and choked in a series, or players didn't come through when they needed to, whatever the case is. But they made it happen this year or last year in 2024, and they did it with no Tyler Glass now. They did it with Ohtani not on the mound. Like there was a lot of factors that came into play, and the Dodgers still found a way to win a World Series. Summer hits, and the Dodgers continue to go out and spend. They do what they do. And the conversation starts coming up about, and there's some quotes here from Rob Manfred that I want to read, which is why I got the article here. The conversation starts coming up of like, okay, they go out and get Blake Snell, Tanner Scott. They re-signed Teoscar Hernandez. Go down the list. Everybody knows, where the Dodgers have been spending their money. They went last year, spent over $1 billion when they did what they did. So a lot more conversations have been coming up about should there be a salary cap in baseball. Let me read to you guys Rob Manfred, what he was saying. Remember, everybody now is for the most part, in Arizona. I know they play spring training in a couple different places, but this is at the Cactus League. He was talking to the media on Tuesday. He said the Dodgers have gone out and have done everything possible, always within the rules that currently exist, to put the best team possible on the field. I think that's a great thing for the game. That type of competitive spirit is what people want to see. I want to keep reading here. The bigger question is teams that have resources, and they do, whether you're a small market, a mid-market, or a large market, is why they don't seem to be as interested in signing players that can help them be the last team standing. This is Rob Manfred still talking. I'm going to keep going here because Rob Manfred, a lot of the points he's making, really more, in my opinion, is in support of the Dodgers rather than putting a salary cap on baseball. He says it's clear that we have fans in some markets that are concerned about the ability of the team in their market to compete with the financial resource of the Dodgers. I think that disparity, as it should be, is certainly at the top of my list of concerns about what's going on in the sport. When I say I can't be critical of the Dodgers, they are doing what the system wants. If I'm going to be critical of something, it's not going to be the Dodgers. It's going to be the system. Okay. That is the those are some of the quotes there that I wanted to read here. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The Dodgers, if people have energy towards the Dodgers, as in like, this is BS, they can't do this, they can't do this. I'll say it, I've said it before. It's not the Dodgers' fault that they have the resources that they do. It's not the Dodgers' fault that they have an ownership group that has more money than you can possibly imagine. It's not the Dodgers' fault that they have an ownership group that really, really, really wants to win. It's not their fault that they've gone out there and hired the right people to have the best farm system in baseball, convince players like Shohei Ohtani and some of these other players to come join their organization. It's not their fault. So I think the point that Rob Manfred is making is it's not the Dodgers' fault. Don't hate the player, hate the game, right? You guys have heard that quote before. But I do think baseball has a problem. And I do think that the problem is you could look at it both ways too. It's not just the Dodgers who are spending what they're spending, but there's also a lot of teams that aren't spending. And there are a lot of owners out there that are saying to themselves, nope, I'm going to spend the least amount of money possible, and I'm just going to make the most amount from a profit perspective. And they don't care whether the team is successful or not. So just as much as the Dodgers might be an issue in the sense of they could outspend everybody, we'll also pay attention to those teams that aren't spending shit, because that's also a bad look for baseball. I think in a perfect world, and I don't know if this is going to happen, but I've seen people suggest this as well. There should be a ceiling, but there should also be a floor. And whatever that looks like, it looks like. I think you want to have in baseball, I think it's very, very important to have, as best as you can, a competitive balance. As best as you can. That it doesn't matter what market you're in or any of that stuff. You can compete year in and year out if you really want to and you have the right structure. With that in mind, you also can't be a franchise. I remember this used to happen. You guys remember the Clippers back in the day. Donald Sterling would purposely never spend over the cap. The Lakers would always get taxed. And if you got taxed, then that tax was distributed amongst all the owners that didn't go over the tax. Well, Donald Sterling just looked at it as like phenomenal. Yeah, I just won't spend any money and then I'll make more money here. I don't care about winning. You also can't have that in your sport. That's obviously not good for your sport as well. So whatever that balance is, and I'm not telling you that I know what that balance is, but I don't think you should be upset at the Dodgers doing what they're doing. But I think the sport of baseball, it's also going to be important to have some type of measures here to say, okay, look, not every team is not every market is created equal. Not every team is created equal. I mean, there's a lot of these teams right now that don't even have revenue coming in from their local TV rights deals. So it is not apples to apples across the board. But as much as you look at teams that are saying, okay, they're spending this much, there's also teams out there that aren't spending shit. So there has to be some kind of balance within. All right, let's see what we got here. Dodgers are investing money to make money. Yeah, I'm not questioning what the Dodgers are doing. What the Dodgers are doing, like I said, they're playing within the rules. You know, Shohei Ohtani just churned baseball. Shohei Ohtani turned the Dodgers into something that they probably didn't even realize that they even had. As successful as the Dodgers were in the sense of selling tickets and revenue and everything, once Shohei came, it's like a completely different level now of what Dodgers baseball is. And I'm sure what the finances are for the Dodgers. I'm sure there was probably an agreement when Shohei came. It was like, hey, yes, I'll sign with you, but it is now your responsibility to go out there and put together the best team every single year. And the Dodgers are holding their word. They're keeping their word to it. All right, let me read some more here. Look at the Mets. Mets is a great example. It's a great example. The Dodgers would never sign Juan Soto to a $765 million deal. I think sometimes the Dodgers are looked at as they only go spend money. They do spend money, spend a lot of money, and they got a lot of money. But they're also pretty smart with their contracts they dish out too. That's why I never thought Juan Soto was going to be a Dodger. I'm like, Dodgers aren't going to pay him that much money. The Mets will. So anyways, that gives you a little bit. The deferments are lame. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that one is, here's one here. Deferred Dodger salaries are out of control. They need to fix a little. I'm with you from that perspective. That one's kind of like, all right, well, literally by that investment company like the Guggenheim Group, by not having to pay Shohei Ohtani, they could take X amount of dollars and just reinvest it. And by the time they need to pay him, they invested that money and that money has grown. They'll probably make money off of Shohei's $700 million contract. Baseball had way better ratings in the 1900s when they had tons of repeat champs and major discrepancies between the best and worst franchises. I get that one. You're trying to basically say that villains or teams that everybody hate will draw ratings. You're not wrong in that. I'm talking more about just the health of the sport in the sense of, does each team have a legitimate shot of winning a World Series? All right, let me get a couple more in here, and then I want to do some Ask Sleaze here. Can I buy a house and defer my payments until 2099? Yes. Yes, you can. Money is just money. It helps, but it's not a guarantee. Here's what I think is a guarantee in baseball. The Dodgers have guaranteed themselves the NL West and a playoff spot. So money helps. Let's not pretend like money doesn't help. It definitely helps. All right. I think I'm good there. I just wanted to read off that. I thought that article was interesting. I thought it was good, and I think there was I think Rob Manfred, to be honest with you, I think a lot of what Rob Manfred is saying is more in support of the Dodgers than it is against them. Again, but I'm not making the case that it's the Dodgers' fault. I want people to understand that the Dodgers have done nothing wrong. It's the structure of baseball. Is there a better way of structuring it? I would think that there needs to be. Lakers win tonight in Portland. Yes, I think Lakers get a W tonight in Portland. I do think they win tonight. I think they'll get their act back together. And if I'm doing post game and they lost, then you guys can blame it all on me. Mitch, thank you very much for the super brother. Thank you for being a member as well. Thank you, buddy. It'd be smart to waive Shake and sign Coloco to the roster. Big depth will help, but this is a process. It'll take time to get situated. Sky's not falling. I'll tell you when the sky's falling. If they lose to Portland tonight, and then you have this tough stretch of games over these next 2 weeks where they're kind of falling in the standings, and then there's some other teams that are Clippers jump them in the standings. Maybe Golden State with Jimmy Butler kind of starts working their way back up, or you're losing against teams like they got 2 games against the Clippers coming up. They got games against Minnesota, Phoenix, Denver. If you're losing kind of some leverage in the standings against some of these teams, then that obviously would be hurting them as well. Mitch, thank you for the super, brother. All right. I'll throw it out here. If anybody has any ass sleeves, throw them out. If not, all good. We don't have to do it today. But if you got any ass sleeves, throw them out, and then we'll go. Barometer game sleeve. No, Ray. It's the wrong one. Barometer game is Saturday at Denver. That'd be a fun game, actually. I want to start seeing those type of games, the tough ones. I want to kind of start seeing if Lakers find themselves in, a spot where they're going up against tough matchups, and what does Luka look like in some of those games? I'm ready for those games. Sam Rodriguez, I'm going to New Orleans in 2 weeks. Any recommendations? Ask Lee. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. I've been to New Orleans once. Okay, I'm gonna give you a New Orleans thing. And I don't have any specific recommendations, but I'll tell you my experience when I was there. One of the cool things about New Orleans, I know everybody wants to go at night and it's the partying going on and all that stuff. Go to the French Quarter during the day, like around noon. You got a lot of shops that are open, a lot of art stores that are open, a lot of really good restaurants that are out there. The vibe is cleaner, I guess you can call it, right? Like you want to go out, party, drink. Okay, go do your thing. Obviously go have fun, go have a good time. But I think it's underrated to go around during the day to those areas. I think you'll find it's a pretty cool scene. So go grab some lunch out there, not just the drinks and the dinner, because drinks and dinner, you can catch that anywhere. Badass jazz everywhere you go. A lot of good jazz bars out there I would recommend as well. I haven't been out there in a while. I went to a Lakers-Pelicans game, but that was like, 7-8 years ago, maybe even further. Let's see what else we got here. Slee, do you honestly think Luka plays championship basketball on both sides of the floor? No, I don't. But I think there are plenty of champions that didn't play championship ball on both sides of the floor. Luka's just going to have to be Luka, guys. I mean, you can build a championship team around Luka. I believe in that. Guy was in the NBA Finals last year. Okay, so it's not like you can't build a championship team around Luka. You can. But if people are, kind of looking at him as if this guy is going to be like this lockdown defender, that's just not him. That's not his game. But there have been other guys that have won championships where they're either not lockdown defenders or they have a specific role on the team. Luka is a walking triple-double every single night. It doesn't mean he's going to lock down guys, but you can still build a team around him that will certainly do that. Steve asks Slee, you think you would ever take calls on this show? Yeah, I think at some point. Not now. I think that would probably be something that I try to set up by next Lakers season. I think I'll have my bearings and kind of have really understood what I did for a year or whatever the case is. That would probably be an element that I would add to it. So thank you, brother. I appreciate you with the comment here. Ashley, how much do you think Luka weighs? He's got to lose some weight. I'll tell you that right now. Ashley, when are you going to jack up some threes with members on the blacktop? Okay, no joke. I have thought about, because I've sat here and told you guys that I'm an 80% free throw shooter. I'm 80%. 80%, 8 out of 10 at the free throw line, like a machine. Not really, but sort of. Like sometimes not, around there. Yeah, I'm going to do something like that. I have, right outside of the office, and for some of the members, I gave a tour of the office and the office space. And right outside of my office, there's a little park and then a hoop setup out there. And I'm going to have to get out there one of these days and shoot around. The problem is there's always people, trying to have like an intimate thing here. Slee, what's your go-to concession order at a ball game? Lay it on us. Okay. Mitch, great question. What's better, by the way, than going to a baseball game? What's better than going to a baseball game? At Petco Park watching our Padres, huh? Watching our Padres play. You guys know what I'm talking about. All right. Here's my first move that I make. I get to a game. First move I make. I want a beer, a lager. I don't need this IPA. I don't even know what's going on with those. I want a lager. I want a nice, light, crisp, cold beer and peanuts. That's my first move when I get to the game. I want to be able to say, first 3-4 innings, I want to sip on my beer and I want to enjoy some peanuts, get the salt, get a little bit of that beer, let those things combine. Usually my next move after that, I like just having a hot dog at a game. Now, here's what's happened. I'll use Petco as an example because you got so many of these local vendors now. They got really good food, so you don't have to just get a hot dog anymore. They got these badass tri-tip sandwiches. Dodger Stadium, I'm sure they're doing the same thing too. Tri-tip sandwiches. You can get Hodad's, which is a great local spot in San Diego. Hodad's Burgers, phenomenal. Pizza Port does slices of pizza. So I think the game has kind of changed, but whatever I get to eat, I got to do beer and peanuts to start off the game. That's my first 3-4 innings right there. All right, let's see what else we got here. You sure Slee Luka's out of shape, my guy? I know. Lakers, Venice. It's part of Ask Slee, by the way. If you're tuning in and saying, why is Slee talking about oysters? Is because Wednesdays we do Ask Slee. Now, I didn't do Ask Slee yesterday because I was laying on the bed for 17 hours drinking Theraflu like it was freaking water. I don't know how you guys do. I don't take medicine. I never take medicine, okay? Whenever I'm sick and I take like a NyQuil or a Theraflu, my body does not know what to do. I'm like hallucinating. Literally hallucinating. All right, let's see what we got here. Down with oysters, no. I got nothing against them. Nothing against them. But I don't like seek them. I don't go out of my way to have them. Recommend any bars, breweries around Liberty Station. Let me tell you guys, Liberty Station, one of the coolest parts of San Diego. If you guys know what that is, Liberty Station used to be part of, I think it was the Navy. It was like the housing area for the Navy. And then they eventually just turned it into shops and restaurants and bars. Go do this as far as bars and breweries around Liberty Station. I think they actually have is it a Stone? I think Stone has a brewery out there. But I would do this. I would go into their little food court that they have. It's they got all these different vendors. So I would go look around there. There's a really good pizza spot called Bueno Forchetta, which I've talked about before. That's there as well. All right, here's what we got here. A couple more and we're going to call it a day here. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Man, people are not liking Luka's food habits. Emerald's Restaurant in NOLA are fire. Okay. Make it out there. All right, let's see what else we got here. Get one or two more and then we're going to call it a day. Yeah, Tommy, you're probably right. I'm really not. I could hit 8 out of 10 from the free throw line, and then the next time I take another 10, I'll hit 5. It's like, Slee, where's the consistency here? No consistency. All right, let me see. What is somebody talking about here? Is there something going on? Because I saw somebody say Shams report. All right, let me look. Let me see what we got here. Let me see if I could find something. And you guys let me know if I'm let me see if I could find Shams here real quick. All right, let's read this. 3 minutes ago, this came out. Statement from Jeff Schwartz of XL Sports Management. The overwhelming sentiment after conferring with multiple nationally recognized doctors is that the Los Angeles Lakers should not have failed Mark Williams on his physical. Interesting. Jeff Schwartz. Mark was ready and able to play for them and should have been given that opportunity. Wow. Okay. Lakers get cold feet? Did the Lakers get cold feet? I wonder if this is going to be, kind of a bad look for the Lakers. Or as somebody saying here, was it buyer's remorse? All right, let me see here if there's another one here. And I will tell you this, the whole thing has been odd. I've been hearing a lot of different people, obviously talk about the how this all went down, and this doesn't typically happen in the NBA. Listen, I'm still going to bank on this. If it was any other player, I'd probably be a little bit more suspicious. But because it's Mark Williams and he's missed 60% of his games in the NBA, I got to imagine there was a reason. That's the best I can describe it. I got to imagine there was a reason. We'll see what more of the fallout is on this and, if there's more information that comes. But just saw that right now. I appreciate you guys giving me a heads up on it. So Jeff Schwartz, XL Sports Management, the overwhelming sentiment after conferring with multiple nationally recognized doctors is that the Los Angeles Lakers should not have failed Mark Williams on his physical. Mark was ready and able to play for them and should have been given the opportunity. All right, make of it what you will. That might be something that, obviously hangs around the Lakers, but nonetheless, we'll see what eventually happens. All right, my people, I'm done for the day. I appreciate you guys hanging out, and I appreciate you guys obviously hanging out for the show. I'm back on tonight after the Lakers take on the Portland Trailblazers. We'll do a little post-game show action. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Please subscribe if you've yet to subscribe. Thank you for being here. We'll talk to you guys later tonight. Thank you.